Never seen such a bold thief. Even with SWAT surrounding him, he's totally calm.
Move. I won't say it again.
With the bomb remote in his hand, the SWAT can't make a move and have to step aside. Gabriel, wearing sunglasses, couldn't care less about everything going on around him. He strolls into the surrounded bank like it's just a walk in the park. Originally, his men have kidnapped dozens of hostages, each strapped with 20 kilos of explosives and 15 kilos of steel pellets. If any hostage steps out of range, they'll explode. To prove he's serious, Gabriel orders one hostage outside for a demonstration. The commander orders the snipers to get ready, but Agent Roberts tries to stop him, while the commander thinks the robbers are just bluffing. However, the commander decides to launch an assault while Gabriel talks. A sniper takes the shot and kills the robber escorting the hostage. The terrified hostage tries to run back into the bank, but is dragged away by the rescue team. She screams, begging not to leave. The SWAT team thinks she's just in shock and forces her to go. Then, a blood-stained steel pellet slowly rolls to Stanley's face, and he, unexpectedly pulled into this case, is about to become its main character. 4 days ago, top Finnish hacker Axel Torvald is caught at LA airport with a fake passport and arrested by the FBI before he even leaves the security area. During the interrogation, he calmly responds, but the officer points out he's wanted for multiple computer crimes and questions why he risks coming here. That's when Agent Roberts walks in to take over the interrogation. Agent Roberts kicks out the lawyer, pulls out his gun, and introduces himself. He used to lead the country's largest cybercrime task force, and once shot off a suspect's hand, so he'd never use a computer again. But Axel isn't fazed. He knows what his boss can do. Say one wrong word, and he's dead. While they're talking, the hitman sent by Axel's boss enters the next room, impersonates the chief, and calls Agent Roberts to trick him out. Left alone, Axel starts admiring himself in the mirror. Unaware, death arrives. The hitman quickly shoots, blowing Axel's head off, and kills the lawyer too. When Agent Roberts realizes something's wrong and rushes back, he finds only 2 bodies in the room. Fresh out of prison, top hacker Stanley is on his rooftop playing golf when a red sports car pulls up. The woman named Ginger is stunning and knows everything about Stanley's background. She invites him to meet her boss with the promise of a big payout. Stanley declines, saying he's under FBI surveillance and will end up back in prison if he touches a computer, telling her not to waste his time. When Ginger mentions Stanley's daughter, he instantly loses his temper and pushes her out. His daughter is his soft spot. 2 years ago, after his arrest, he lost custody and his wife remarried, taking their daughter with her. Over the past year, he's tried multiple times to regain custody, but each time he's been rejected due to lack of money. Ginger has already done her research and hands him a package with $100,000, telling him that no matter whether the meeting leads to a deal, the money is his, with no risk. Determined to get his daughter back, Stanley agrees to meet the boss. They go to a bar where Stanley meets Gabriel. Gabriel warmly greets him, and Stanley asks why he was invited. Gabriel doesn't waste time. He has the woman sit next to Stanley and a computer brought over, showing the 128-bit defense database password entry. A top hacker needs an hour, but Gabriel gives Stanley just 1 minute. Stanley tries to refuse but is held by a big guy. Gabriel adds more pressure, with the woman offering special services and a gun to Stanley's head. Under the pressure, Stanley starts typing fast, but each attempt is denied. Gabriel counts down as Stanley rubs his hands, typing faster. He hits enter, but the screen still says access denied.
Too bad, you gotta die. Wait!
It turns out the gun's empty. Just one of Gabriel's pranks. But surprisingly, Stanley actually cracks the 128-bit defense database. Gabriel is impressed and immediately takes him back to his mansion. Seeing the 7-screen supercomputer, Stanley's eyes light up. Gabriel's plan is simple. Get him to create a supercomputer worm that can break a 512-bit encryption system, and if he succeeds, he'll get $10 million. Stanley still has doubts, but Ginger bends down to demonstrate. With the double lure of beauty and money, Stanley quickly loses himself in temptation.
Is it impossible?
Nothing's impossible.
Meanwhile, Agent Roberts makes a big discovery. While reviewing Axel's airport footage, he spots Stanley, the man he once sent to prison. 2 top hackers in LA in 1 day? There's definitely a plot. Roberts figures Stanley will visit his ex-wife to see his daughter and orders his team to stake out nearby. The next morning, Stanley borrows Ginger's car, picks up his daughter, and reassures her they'll be together soon. She's both happy and worried, afraid he might mess up again. Stanley reassures her, and they hug. After dropping her off at his ex-wife's house, Stanley is shocked to find FBI agents in the passenger seat of his car. Crashes into the FBI car and escapes. Cornered by a cliff, he jumps off with Roberts in pursuit. On a nearly 90-degree slope, the two roll down like balls. Stanley reaches the bottom, only to crash into another agent's car. Roberts fires a warning shot, and Stanley has no choice but to surrender. Roberts angrily pulls him to the car, demanding to know why he ran, admitting he just wanted to ask questions, not take him back to the station. Agent Roberts offers to help Stanley get his daughter back, but only if he cooperates and reveals the mastermind's identity. Distrustful of the FBI, Stanley refuses, so Roberts reveals that Axel has been silenced and gives Stanley his business card, telling him to call if anything goes wrong. When Stanley returns the car keys to the mansion, he unexpectedly finds a bug hidden by Ginger. As he shuts the door, Ginger quickly pulls out a gun after hearing the noise. At that moment, Gabriel shouts from outside, and in a panic, Ginger admits she's an undercover DEA agent. She explains that her only target is Gabriel, and if Stanley quickly makes the computer worm and takes the money, he won't be involved in Gabriel's case. When Gabriel enters, Stanley secretly hides the bug. Gabriel doesn't notice anything wrong and invites him to a cafe for drinks, where he reveals his entire plan. In the early 80s, the DEA launched an operation called Swordfish to gather money laundering evidence on drug cartels. They set up a bunch of shell companies, and by 1986, the accounts had over $400 million. Thanks to the interest, it's now grown to $9.5 billion. With a supercomputer worm, they could easily steal it. But Stanley knows it's not that simple. Only banks connected to the main network can be accessed. Gabriel has Stanley look out the window, where the World Bank, which meets the criteria, is visible. Meanwhile, the FBI is monitoring the mansion closely. They can tell from the behavior of the people that they're ex-military, and heat signatures confirm there's a high-performance computer inside. Agent Roberts quickly identifies Gabriel as the mastermind and orders an investigation. Soon, the senator hears about Gabriel's investigation and calls him. Gabriel has been working for him all along, and the senator is the real mastermind. To avoid getting involved, the senator tells Gabriel to cancel the operation and lay low. But Gabriel refuses, and insists on going ahead. Sensing the threat, the senator orders his men to eliminate Gabriel. Meanwhile, Stanley makes great progress on the supercomputer worm. He downloads a virus he wrote in college and cracks the latest firewall. About to celebrate with a drink, he finds the bottle empty. While heading to the wine cellar for more, he unexpectedly stumbles upon a dead body. It's Gabriel. Stanley freaks out and runs out of the cellar, only to see Gabriel alive and well right in front of him. Shocked and confused, Stanley doesn't know how to react. Gabriel sees through him and says there's always sleight of hand in the world. Like when a magician makes an elephant disappear, what you see isn't always the truth. While they're talking, Gabriel realizes they're being followed and can't shake them off even after running a red light. He tells Stanley to steer while he grabs two guns and opens fire, killing the two drivers on the spot. Stanley drifts the car to a stop, and Gabriel pulls an M249 machine gun from the trunk, loads a belt of ammo, and blasts the enemy vehicles.
Move!
Confirming one of the shooters is working for the senator. The next day, Gabriel finds the senator fishing and kills him with one shot. After Stanley hands over the completed worm, Gabriel transfers $10 million to his account. To keep Stanley on his side, Gabriel reveals his real plan, to use the stolen money to fight terrorists. Stanley, seeing no difference between Gabriel's actions and terrorism, refuses to cooperate. He pulls the power plug and escapes. Gabriel's men try to chase him, but Gabriel stops them, knowing Stanley is already under his control. Stanley arrives at his ex-wife's house to find her and her partner dead and his daughter missing. Obviously Gabriel's doing. Desperate, Stanley calls Agent Roberts. Meanwhile, Gabriel, with his convoy, storms into the World Bank, takes control of all the hostages, and straps them with bomb vests. A standoff with the police follows, but due to a mistake in the police's command, a bomb on one of the hostages detonates, killing dozens of SWAT officers. After the explosion, Gabriel demands a plane in 20 minutes and plans to leave by bus. The police, badly wounded, comply. Stanley arrives at the bank and Gabriel orders his men to release his daughter once the transfer is complete. Stanley does so and $9.5 billion is transferred. As they leave, the account resets to zero.
The money.
Stanley frees his daughter but is captured again. Furious, Gabriel threatens Stanley with a gun. But Stanley stays calm, saying he's set up a 1024-bit encryption and the money keeps moving every minute. Kill him, and Gabriel gets nothing. Stanley offers a deal: release the hostages, and he'll transfer the funds. Gabriel orders Ginger to be brought out and hung up with a rope. Gabriel reveals he knows Ginger is a DEA agent and forces Stanley to transfer the $9.5 billion. After letting her down, Gabriel shoots her hard. Stanley doesn't have time to mourn before he's shoved onto the bus. To be safe, Gabriel orders a no-fly zone within 5 kilometers and prepares rocket launchers. The robbers drive the bus out of the bank, escorted by police cars. The police have set up a trap at the airport, but as the bus nears the highway entrance, it suddenly accelerates. Agent Roberts shouts, but Gabriel doesn't respond and opens the roof hatch. Just then, a heavy-duty helicopter appears overhead. The robbers quickly hook the bus to the chopper, lifting it off the ground, while the FBI convoy watches helplessly as they escape into the sky. But the good times don't last. A sudden gust of wind slams the bus into a nearby building. Snapping the ropes, the bus tilts vertically, and the force throws one hostage and a robber out the window. Luckily, the driver manages to land the bus on a pre-planned rooftop. Another helicopter is ready to take off, and the robbers deactivate all the bomb triggers. Gabriel smugly says goodbye to Stanley before boarding the waiting plane with his crew. Ginger's death makes Stanley determined not to let the devil slip away. He opens the ammo box left on the bus, aims at the helicopter taking off, and fires without hesitation. The explosion wipes out everyone on the plane. The next day, Agent Roberts takes Stanley to the morgue to identify the body. Though it's unrecognizable from the blast, DNA confirms it's Gabriel. Just then, Roberts' team reports that the DEA has no record of Ginger, and there's no body in the morgue. How could a body just vanish? Flashbacks of the past few days rush through Stanley's mind. It turns out Gabriel never boarded the plane. The body on it was the one Stanley saw in the wine cellar. Stanley gives a subtle smile, keeping the truth from Agent Roberts because he also got $10 million from Gabriel. A week later, a brunette woman shows up at a private bank in Monte Carlo, transferring the $9.5 billion into 10 accounts. This woman is Ginger, the one Gabriel shot. After the transfer, she heads to a yacht at the dock, where Gabriel, now clean-shaven, is waiting. It turns out Ginger wasn't a DEA agent. It was all part of Gabriel's plan. Gabriel doesn't keep the money for himself, though. Over the next 6 months, dozens of terrorists who escaped justice are mysteriously assassinated, clearly Gabriel's work.